Hello and welcome to Untwisted Threads. This is Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. This 100% non-superwash merino wool yarn features 36 colors and 16 petite knit collection colors. The colorway that we chose is 2345 Croissant, a rich warm caramel. This 50 gram skein with 108 meters or 118 yards works up as a DK weight yarn. The suggested gauge on 3.5 or 4 millimeter needles is 21 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For today's swatch, I will be using a 4 millimeter needle size. In today's video, we're going to review and score Sandnes Garn Double Sunday using our 5 categories, which are availability, softness, traction, durability, and cost, to help you decide if this is the best yarn for you and your next project. Stay tuned until the end for a few pattern recommendations as well. Let's get started. For availability, we give Double Sunday a score of 3.5 out of 5. Sandnes Garn originates from Norway, and typically when a yarn brand is European based, it's not always very common here in the States. Although this yarn isn't available on any major craft websites here in the US or even the UK that we know of, there are quite a few purchasing options from smaller craft shops, including Wool & Company and Ritual Dyes. I imagine in the UK, this yarn is probably at quite a few, if not all, of your local yarn shops. For softness, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. You may be familiar that merino yarn is one of the most widely available and common yarns out there. Of course, like all other yarns, some are softer than others. I may get a lot of differing opinions about this because I know how popular this yarn is, but I didn't really notice a softness that really stood out to me or made me say, wow, this is amazing. For a comparison, I would say this yarn is a little bit softer than Filcolana Peruvian and not quite as soft as Cascade Heritage or Hobie Friends Extra Fine Merino. In my opinion, I think it's pretty comparable to Concept by Katia Cotton Yak. On a micron count scale, merino yarns range from about 15 to 25, with an average around a 20 to 21 micron count, and I believe this is about accurate for this yarn. It is a nice yarn, and even after blocking, it's not one of those buttery soft yarns, and it's not rustic either. It just doesn't really stand out to me as a yarn that I would run towards working with again. For the fiber, however, this Australian merino wool is not only insulating, but is moisture wicking and retains heat even when wet. For traction, we give it a score of 4.5 out of 5. This yarn had good traction. Like many merino yarns, I didn't experience any sticking or drag to the fibers on my needles. As mentioned with the softness, this isn't necessarily a buttery soft yarn, so it's not gliding on my needles like a buttery yarn would. Although the fibers are spun a little looser, I didn't notice the yarn coming apart, but if you're wanting to crochet with this yarn, I could see how the looser spin of the fibers could become an issue. If you're a beginner knitter, this could be a good option to practice knitting with because it has some glide, but it's not sliding all over the place. But overall, this yarn is pretty stretchy and gives a nice stitch definition. For durability, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. Often softer yarns don't hold up well to wear and tear and are prone to pilling. Because merino wool fibers are more fine, it's a little delicate on its own. However, the higher twist of this yarn definitely adds some strength, allowing it to withstand greater tension and stress. As mentioned on the Sandnes Garn website, this yarn, because it's not superwash treated, is feltable. Simply put, this means that you should be cautious with washing and choosing a project for this yarn, as places like your underarms could experience the yarn to felt together when you wear it. So I suggest maybe not knitting a close-fitting garment with this one, but more of an oversized fit. You also could add another yarn in addition to this one, like their 10 silk mohair, to prevent it from felting. For cost, we give it a score of 2 out of 5. For being a 50-gram skein, you can expect to pay $10 US per skein. This breaks down to about 8 cents per yard, meaning a size medium sweater would cost approximately $100 US. So I would definitely say this is a higher cost merino yarn. If you're wanting to work with this yarn, I would absolutely be certain it's exactly what you want and are looking for before you purchase an entire sweater quantity. Overall, we give Sandnes Garn Double Sunday a score of 3.6 out of 5. As I mentioned with its softness, this is a nice yarn. That's really how I would describe it, a nice yarn. I was honestly a little bit surprised when I started working with it because of how popular and how often I see knitters using this yarn. It didn't really blow me away or give me a reason to really want to reach for this yarn again, except for its beautiful color selection. But it's just not settling well with me that I would pay and reach for this yarn just for the color selection though. What do you think? So we had a little look on Ravelry and wanted to share a few pattern recommendations with you, hopefully to inspire you if you're wanting to use Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. The first pattern is called the Stripe Hype Sweater by Veronika Lindberg, also known as Kotova Kika. You begin by working the back flat, then stitches are picked up for the left and right front shoulders and worked flat. The back and front are then joined and continue to be knitted in the round. Stitches are picked up in the round for the sleeves, and lastly the collar is worked in a twisted rib stitch. This pattern really utilizes the beautiful color selection of this yarn. It is a DK weight pattern suggesting this specific yarn and uses one main base color and 5 contrasting colors. You could, of course, use any number of colors that you want or less to make it more of a toned down or classic looking garment. The next pattern is Beret number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear and comes in 3 sizes. This classic beret is knit from the bottom up in the round and features a fisherman's rib and decorative shaping. Sometimes I just want a quick knit, so I thought it would be fun to throw in this pattern suggestion. Again, you could have so much fun choosing a color to make this beautiful beret. What I also love is that this project only uses 100 grams or 2 skeins of yarn, making it more of a budget-friendly project if you're wanting to try out this yarn. The last pattern is the Cosmo sweater by Simone of Rust Knitwear. It is a seamless top-down raglan sweater with a relaxed fit and a slightly cropped length. The yoke is worked in a double broken rib stitch, which gradually makes its way into a stockinette. Cables are used to create a smooth diagonal line, which separates the rib and stockinette sections. The sample was originally knit with 1 strand of wool and 1 strand of mohair, but I think you could easily substitute the suggested yarn with Double Sunday to meet gauge. With a combination of the beautiful stitches and design and the color selection of this yarn, I think it would make such a nice oversized sweater. Have you used Sandnes Garn Double Sunday yarn before? What yarn would you like for us to do a review on next? We would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's review, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.